Piles of grain on the ground just waiting to go to ports. Now, this is a devastating reality for a lot of farmers across the prairies. Now, just this week, the federal government announced they are launching a $1.5 million study to come up with solutions for this transportation issue. Now, Annika Notveit speaks to a local farmer about the backlog of grain he's been experiencing so far.
Craig Gabrielson runs a medium-sized farm outside of Lloydminster and says they recently just got the grain from storage bags on the ground and into bins, something that should have been done months ago, but there wasn't room. He says the slow railway system poses a big problem on getting the grain to ports.
It definitely frustrates us. You can't control everything in farming, and this is one of the things that is out of our control. Anything that impacts your bottom line as much as increased freight costs do, it's a huge problem.
And a troublesome fact is these costs are rising.
I do worry for my business. I think, like I say, we've seen increased costs on freight upwards of 20 to 40%, and as we see prices go down, that comes off your bottom line. So it's a huge cost.
Federal Agriculture Minister Jerry Ritz wants to assure farmers they take this issue very seriously. He says this year's crop could become the new normal as there's a large demand, and he says the research starting now will be an asset to fixing the problem.
It's the industry that's leading this, so it's the actual producers themselves that will be doing the analysis as to what's going to be required to move that top quality Canadian product into markets every year.
But research takes time. And what about right now?
Anybody who's sitting on a bunch of grain in their bin and looking for the opportunity to move it, that opportunity will present itself, just not in the timely way that they're looking for. Having said that, then they have to avail themselves of these cash advances I just spoke of, or go back in and talk to the lending institution and work out a path forward.
Craig Gabrielson says this year has brought up a lot of concerns when it comes to transportation, but he's more worried about how the backlog of grain will affect next year.
This year was a huge crop. Some people say about 30% bigger than we've ever had before. But our productivity levels on the farm are increasing each year, and I don't believe our transportation industry is keeping up with that. That's money tied up in inventory, and it really is a cost to hold that grain.
But for now, the grain still sits, and the heavy silence of many unanswered questions remain. Annika Notveit, Newcap News.
Well, students in St. Paul now have a choice in pursuing their passion of cooking. Portage College just started their food sciences classes with the institutional cooking program this year. Now, the new food sciences building is expected to be completed by May of this year. Fraser Snowden has more.
It may not look like much now for the food services students as they use a temporary kitchen, but cooks like 21-year-old Nathaniel are excited to be part of it.
I always had a passion for cooking ever since I was younger. Now I actually get to put my hands on the food and get marked for my food. I always had ideas to what I wanted to make, and I can actually do it now, so it's pretty good.
39-year-old Clayton Omesu from Saddle Lake has always had a passion cooking for others.
I've always enjoyed it since I was young, growing up, and I found that every dish I've ever prepared, people ate it and they enjoyed it, so that kind of gave me the idea that maybe I had what it takes to be a cook, a chef.
So down this 12-foot side and the other 12-foot side will be stoves.
Construction is still being completed on the new food services building, which will allow the school to open more programs in the future. Culinary instructor Tom Barclay says it has been a long time coming.
It's very exciting and very rewarding at the same time to have this facility in St. Paul. It's going to be state-of-the-art. We're going to have multi-programs coming through here and entrepreneurs working beside the students. So it's a real advantage for the students that come here.
The new building will be ready by this spring. The college will host a celebrity cook-off with guest David Adjei on May 10th. For more information, visit portagecollege.ca. In St. Paul, Fraser Snowden, Newcap News.
Well, on Mondays here Here on Newcap News, we take a look back at memories in retrospect this week from the archives, and this time Brian Hardy brings us a report on astronaut Chris Hadfield's visit to an area school. As well, we take a look at the dawn of the internet in schools.
This week in 1996, the World Wide Web was catching on in schools.
The internet has been available through the Lloyd Comp Library since last February. Interest in the computers has been high.
We actually have quite a bit of use on the internet. There's about 3 or 4 students per day.
Students are excited about the opportunity to use the new technology, and many are using the computers for more than just their studies.
If you're just on it for fun, like me, you just browse through entertainment, or when you're working in class, usually there's a lot of up-to-date information.
As the internet becomes more common, many schools will look to make it available to their students.
I think that you're going to see more and more schools get online and really see what it's capable of doing and providing their students with necessary skills for the future.
Joshua Clausen, NewsHour.
It's January 2006 and we're treated to a visit by a down-to-earth astronaut.
Around 250 students at Grand Centre Middle School had the chance to meet Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield. Hadfield, the former fighter pilot once based at Four Wing Cold Lake, was speaking to several schools in the area about his career and space exploration.
Part of the reason that I come to Cold Lake to talk to the students is to just let them know some of the amazing things that are going on in the world around them.
Hadfield says people should be proud of our country's involvement in the space program.
Our hardware is orbiting the Earth on the space station. Our hardware is on Mars. Our hardware is orbiting Saturn and Jupiter right now.
And Hadfield has advice for kids thinking about becoming astronauts.
So I challenge students to get an advanced education, to take care of their bodies, and to do interesting things for themselves that make them interesting to others.
Stacey Comer, Newcap News.
Join us next time when we meet the new Prime Minister on Retrospect, this week from the archives.